Hello, everyone. Welcome to Deaf News Studio. We are on day 8 of 31 days of Halloween. Let's get into it. Gib, what is your pick for day 8?
Right. I think this is probably one that you probably anticipated on my list at some point. But it's the 1984 trauma classic, The Toxic Avenger. Yeah, this is just I think it's just a horror classic. Again, I know like yesterday's one, I feel like it's essential viewing for any horror fan. It is a very not talked about as much in the sort of I'm trying to find the right term, but more people who are more into highbrow horror or anything like that. But it's just it's an 80s classic. Tonally very all over the place. The doesn't quite get the comedy and the horror right every time, but has buckets of both, buckets of gore. It was Troma's first very delve into horror when all the sex comedies weren't cutting it anymore.
Sexy enough.
Lloyd Kaufman came up with the idea for it while he was working on Rocky with John Alverston. I think he was his AD. So he just thought, I'm going to set this horror movie set in a gym, and that's where it went from there. I think it was called it was called something else. It had a different title. It was like Health Club Massacre or something like that. It was called originally, and I think as it went on, it turned into the Toxic Avenger. Again, another film that I watched in my childhood, where I caught on Bravo, late night Bravo.
Good old Bravo.
Yeah. It's where I saw all my smut horror movies,
and the rest.
What introduced me to trauma. Although I already was a fan of the Toxic Avenger from the TV series called The Toxic Crusaders, which I had no idea at the time were linked. So it's kind of mad when you watch The Toxic Avenger, realizing that it got turned into a kids cartoon.
I'd seen the kids cartoon before. Well, I've not seen the Toxic Avenger, but that's all I've seen of the Toxic Avenger. Well,
it stemmed from that. But yeah, watching the what
a strange thing to do.
It's crazy to watch. But I was already a fan of it. I already owned some of the toys. I was a big fan of the cartoon, and watched it a couple of times on Bravo, like late night. Again, probably it's for these type of films I shouldn't have been watching at this age. I was allowed to. I wasn't doing it the film deals with a lot of touchy subjects. There's a really mean-spirited scene with there's like the teenagers in it. Everyone in it's basically just a shithead. Like it's kind of a thing from trauma movies. Just everyone is diabolical in it, apart from like a main character and maybe like a monster or something.
Yeah.
And these characters, it tries to sort of like show how awful they are, and they basically just drive around in a car and run people over for points. There's two women characters and two male characters, and they basically just run down this like 11-year-old and like back over his head. Just it's really just sort of comes out of left field. And yeah, they're the ones that basically bully this this mop boy from this gym that they're all there for. It opens with the most 80s gym scene of like everyone's just got spandex and like there's
baby oil.
Yeah, baby oiled up. Everyone's hairy but they're all the people are buff or people are really fat. It's just there's no middle ground. And basically, they just they bully. They just take a dislike into this mop boy so much. He's a bit of a divvy in it, but like they really just take a dislike into him, and they play a prank on him, bully him to the point where he falls out this window, where this truck that's got all this toxic waste perfectly placed, laid out to it.
How convenient.
He falls into that, turns into the Toxic Avenger, gets his revenge, and that's how it kind of goes on. But yeah, I love this film. It's not for everyone, but it's a B movie classic, and yeah, I'm a massive Trauma fan, so it's a Trauma staple as well.
Well, mate, you've got a you've often recommended horror comedies to me, and with each one, your recommendation has been spot on. So I will be checking out the Toxic Avenger sooner rather than later, because you've never steered me wrong, Gib, when it comes to that kind of like subgenre of horror. You've always got it spot on. So yeah,
it's very easy to track down. I would recommend watching it, but like I say, it's not for everyone. I don't have any gripes with anyone who says, "Oh, it's not for me," that. But yeah, I can imagine it's a very love it or hate it. Absolutely. But yeah, that's my pick for today. Is the Toxic Avenger.
Cool, excellent. Well, I'm gonna go for the 1997 classic Event Horizon.
Great film, great pick.
I again saw it as a kid, either late 97 or early 98 when it came out on VHS. Knew very little of it and absolutely blew my tits off. I love this film. I think this is the closest film to the original Alien we'll ever get.
Yeah. It's a great set, and I think, as I say, it's Hellraiser slash like a haunted house movie on a ship, on a spaceship, and that straight away is just a great setting for what we get.
Yeah, an incredible set design. It feels, you never get the sense of, oh, I'm not really in this film. Like, oh shit, I'm in this film. Yeah,
no, it's great. Yeah, technically a great film. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sort of, where you hear a lot of stories of what it could, there was a lot of ifs and buts of what it could have been and what it was meant to be, and it seems like it was just meddled and changed a little bit. So there's potentially, hopefully someday someone might get hold of a lot of this footage, apparently, that never seen the light of day. And yeah, maybe we'll see we'll release the original cut.
So the more I can see of this film, really, the better, because it's so well made, surprisingly, because it's directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who I'm not being too harsh here, but it's his only good film. It's his only good film. I won't be accepting Mortal Kombat here.
I do like Mortal Kombat, but I'm not saying it's. I'm not actually saying it's a great film. But I do watch Mortal Kombat quite a bit.
Mortal Kombat's fine, but it's just.
But I'm not under illusion that it's a great film. Exactly. It's a good video game adaptation. I'll give it that.
Yes.
But it's a bit of a mess of a film, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah, but
this is just a generally really good horror movie.
I mean, I'm shocked. I'd be shocked if anyone watched this and went, it's not for me.
Yeah,
because it's such an accessible sci-fi horror.
Yeah,
there's something in there for everyone. There are some genuine scares. The gore is at times brutal and at other times just hinted on, which is very effective. I love the cast. I think everyone's spot on. I mean, yeah, there's not much else I can say. I really do. I rate Event Horizon so much. It's such a fun film, and the cherry on top of the cake, the pie, on the cherry on top of the film, is at the very end credits we get a Funky Shit by Prodigy, which is an absolute tune and a great way just to sign off.
One of my favorite songs from that album, to be honest.
It's a tune, innit?
Yeah.
So
I
good.
always appreciated that when that was on at the end.
I always like films to sign off with a proper belter.
Yeah.
It kind of reinvigorates you and like, oh, this is fantastic. But yeah, I love Event Horizon. It's, for me, it's a classic. It's something that I'll always recommend. But
great pick.
But now it's got a lot of love, and I think you're hard pressed to find someone who hasn't seen Event Horizon now. It's because it's had a lot of breathing room to grow a fan base, and
it's aged pretty well as well. It's it definitely didn't. I mean, it didn't do very well when it came out, but it grew a good following on VHS, and I think probably more when it was on Sky Movies as well. And
yeah,
that's when I first saw it and didn't really have much interest in it until I actually sat. I think I was flicking. I was maybe like flicking through Sky, and I probably saw like a snippet of like the last act and Sam Neill and his makeup, and I went, "Oh, that looks interesting." I turned it off. I was like, "Right, I'll make sure I watch that next time." And yeah,
Sam Neill was great in his role there.
He is
fantastic. But yeah, that's my pick for day 8, mate. I think it's been a good day 8.
Yeah, and well, again, very conflicting double bill, but
I mean, people at home don't have to watch it in this order. We're just here to recommend some badass horror films.